said you were a fan. Who were your guys?
Oh my God, Andre was number one.
Yeah.
You know, and because I was a typical fan, most of the people that I liked were the good guys. I hated Ted DiBiase. I can't even explain to you how much I hate. He used to beat on JYD, man, and I love Jose Lothario.
Okay.
Being from Texas, we would drive to Houston, um, and watch the Paul Bosch shows, and Jose Lothario used to always be on those shows. He was so colorful and animated, and did the lucha style mix kind of with what we call the American wrestling style now. It was pretty damn cool.
You mentioned Ted DiBiase. I had him on my podcast, and I gave him, an intro like I did for you. Here is WWE Hall of Famer. He's blah blah blah, and he's the most hated man from my childhood. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
And well, I had Ted. He loves football, and we were talking football. He called in to a sports show that I was doing, and we were talking football. And I told him a story about the first time that I saw him in person, and he was like, "Wait a minute, you were there?" And me and my grandmother took a Greyhound bus to the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Louisiana, to
Wow.
see Mid South Wrestling, and Junkyard Dog and Ted DiBiase wrestled that night. And bro, that was the only reason I really wanted to go, is because Junkyard Dog was wrestling. And I'm the little kid, 9 years old, cheering, going crazy. And JYD is dancing, and I'm dancing. All the kids are dancing, and we grab those cakes. Ted DiBiase comes down, and there was no music back then.
Right.
Ted DiBiase comes down, and it just boo, boo, and they throwing stuff, and you see the light as Ted DiBiase is walking toward the ring, and he's dodging cups and people throwing whole things of popcorn at him. Like, I mean, it's a trip. And he gets to the ring, and he's dusting himself off, and he's wiping coke and drinks off his face and stuff, and flipping people off. And the match starts right away. Ted used to do that drop kick spot when he kicks somebody out and they go over the top to the floor. And then he would jump, like grab the one hand and jump over the top to the floor. When he did, JYD came at him and he sidestepped him and pushed him in the back into the post. Well, when he did, I guess that the post had a metal shaving come up off the ring post,
Right.
and it hit JYD in the forehead. And I mean, every time his heart beat, blood would go
Wow.
like he was. It wasn't a wrestling gig. It was hard way.
Right.
And I told Ted DiBiase that story. He said, "Oh my God!" He said, "Man," he said, "I never saw so much blood. I didn't." He said, I was wrestling already for 10 years at that point, and he said, like, I had seen everything. He said, first time in my career, I didn't know what to do. I just stood there and watched, and the referee was trying to hold JYD back. And JYD is wiping blood, but he's still he don't see the blood squirting. And
Right.
finally, they sat him down on the steps, and everybody came out of the back, and they put the pressure on him, and they rushed him off, took him to the hospital. But wrestling's got to go on.
Right.
And about that time, all the baby faces started coming out, and they got Ted cornered in the ring, like they circled him. It's like 4 or 5 baby faces, and Ted is talking trash, and he's like, pushing people and pushing. and all the good guys start beating him up, and putting
Yeah.
him in different finishes, and and shit canned him out of the ring, and they all got their hands raised, and that's how the show ended. When that's not how it was supposed to end.
Right.
It just was a byproduct of what happened in that match, and they was just giving the people something. And I told him that story. He said, "Man," he said, "I cannot believe that you were there." He said, "I've told people that story 10 times in my life, and nobody could believe that that happened." And he said, "And you were there." And I said, "Listen, man, I could corroborate the story. I was there." And man, we've been tight ever since.
Oh, nice.
Just like Ted DiBiase is one of my all of the stars at Mid South were my people.
Yeah.
Love Jake and Roberts, and love Ted DiBiase, and I never got to meet JYD. Like it's a tough one, like to
Yeah.
not be able to meet your hero.